My friends, when we rise in the morning, before the world has placed its demands upon us, there is a mirror that waits. And in that mirror stands the first soul we must learn to embrace. Too often we search outward, stretching our hands toward another's smile, another's approval, another's comfort. Yet the well from which all love flows begins right here, within the chambers of our own heart. To love oneself is not arrogance, nor is it vanity. It is recognition. Recognition that this life, this body, this mind, this spirit is worthy of care. When you walk through your days knowing you are enough, you are not begging for scraps of affection. You are offering a feast of presence, patience, and honesty. Every relationship, whether with a partner, a child, a friend, or a stranger met along the way, carries the imprint of how we see ourselves. If we live in self-doubt, our hands will tremble when we reach for another. If we live in self-contempt, we will wound the very ones we claim to love. But if we live in self-love, if we root ourselves in respect for our own being, then what grows between us and others is strong and nourishing. Think of the river. It cannot quench the thirst of villages if it is dry at its source. And so it is with us. We cannot pour love from an empty vessel. We must fill our own cup, sip deeply, and let the overflow bless those around us. There will be days when the world tells you you are not enough, when comparisons weigh you down, when silence in your own soul feels heavy. But even then, return to the mirror and remind yourself, I am worthy of kindness, of gentleness, of forgiveness. I am worthy of love that begins with me. For when love is planted within, it spreads without measure. It steadies your voice, it softens your touch, it strengthens your presence. And from that foundation, every relationship is built not on need, but on abundance. When we speak of self-love, we must remember it is not a single act, not a fleeting gesture, but a practice, a rhythm that moves through our days like breath. It is found in the small moments, in the way we allow ourselves to rest when the world demands constant motion, in the way we forgive ourselves for mistakes that once chained us in regret. It is found in the way we honor our bodies as temples, not prisons. It is found in the courage to speak our truth even when our voice shakes. So many have been taught to believe that love must always be earned, that worthiness is measured by how much we give, how much we sacrifice, how much we please others. And so many are carrying invisible burdens, bending their backs to hold up everyone else, leaving nothing for themselves. But my friends, love that is stripped of self, love becomes brittle. It cracks under the weight of expectation. It turns into resentment because the roots of it are dry. When you learn to love yourself, truly love yourself, you begin to understand that you are not selfish to honor your needs. You are not unkind to draw a boundary. You are not unworthy if you choose yourself first. You are teaching the world how to treat you. You are whispering with every action, here is how I deserve to be loved. And when that kind of love takes root, you no longer enter relationships from a place of emptiness. You do not demand that another person complete you. You do not grasp at them with desperation. Instead, you meet them as a whole being meeting another whole being. You share, you exchange, you grow, but you do not lose the essence of yourself. Think of the tree. It does not ask the sun to make it a tree. It already knows what it is. It stretches upward not because it doubts itself, but because it is its nature to grow. In the same way, when you stand firmly in self-love, you are not begging others to define you. You already know. You are already rooted. And from those roots, you can stretch wide branches to shelter those you love. There will always be voices that try to tell you otherwise. Voices that say you must diminish yourself to keep the peace. Voices that say you must hide your light so others will not feel small. Voices that insist you must endure unkindness in order to be worthy of companionship. Those voices are heavy with fear, and if you carry them too long, they silence your own. But the truth is, when you silence your own soul, no relationship can truly thrive. Because every bond, every connection, depends not just on what we give to another, but on the wholeness we bring into that giving. Self-love is the soil. Without it, love withers. With it, love flourishes. A partner who sees you cannot heal the wounds you refuse to tend. A friend who praises you cannot fill the silence you hold against yourself. A family that needs you cannot carry the weight of the love you deny yourself. But when you care for your soul, you create a harmony, and everyone who touches your life can feel its song. Loving yourself is also the art of patience. You are not a project to be finished in a day. You are a lifetime of becoming. There will be moments you stumble back into doubt, moments you forget your worth, moments you place yourself second when you should stand first. Do not punish yourself for being human. Return gently. Again and again return to that mirror and say, I deserve the same kindness I give to others. You see, self-love is not only a gift to yourself, it is a gift to the world. A soul at peace brings peace into every room. A heart that knows its own worth does not wound others in its insecurity. A person who carries their own light does not seek to extinguish another's flame. When you love yourself, you make space for compassion, because you no longer live in constant hunger. There is a beauty in self-love that softens the edges of life. It does not mean you will never feel lonely, never feel hurt, never feel sorrow. It means that when those storms come, you have a shelter within. You have a place you can return to, a place where you are always enough. And from that shelter, you can walk through the world without fear of losing yourself in someone else's shadow. We must also speak of forgiveness, because no self-love is whole without it. Too many hearts are carrying stories of shame, mistakes that feel like scars too deep to heal. But love cannot bloom in soil poisoned by shame. You must forgive yourself for the times you stayed silent, for the times you settled for less, for the times you betrayed your own heart. That forgiveness is not forgetting, it is remembering with compassion. It is saying, yes, I stumbled, but I rise still. In the practice of self-love, joy is not an indulgence, it is a necessity. We live in a world that glorifies struggle, that honors sacrifice but forgets delight. But joy is not frivolous, it is strength. When you allow yourself to laugh, to sing, to dance, to savor sweetness without guilt, you are nourishing your soul. And a nourished soul is a gift to everyone you touch. You may ask, how do I begin this practice if I have spent years in doubt, if I have carried rejection, if I have lived without knowing my worth? You begin with the smallest acts. You begin by listening. When your body whispers for rest, do not drown it in noise. When your spirit asks for solitude, do not drown it in company. When your heart aches for expression, do not bury it under silence. Each time you listen, you are telling yourself I matter. Each time you honor those whispers, you are building the foundation of love, and soon you will see it ripple outward. In your friendships, you will no longer cling to those who diminish you. In your family, you will no longer confuse loyalty with suffering. In your partnerships, you will no longer accept love that is laced with harm. You will stand taller, speak clearer, and love deeper because you are not hiding from yourself. The beauty of self-love is that it multiplies. The more you give to yourself, the more you have to give to others. The more you respect yourself, the more you are able to respect others. The more compassion you extend inward, the more you can extend outward. It is not a selfish circle, it is a widening embrace. Consider the child who watches a parent. If that child sees a parent always exhausted, always diminished, always silent, the child learns that love means erasure. But if the child sees a parent who rests, who values themselves, who speaks with dignity, that child learns that love is both giving and honoring the self. That lesson carries into generations. That lesson changes the way love is lived in the world. Self-love also gives you freedom from comparison. In a world that measures us constantly, by beauty, by wealth, by success, by status, it is easy to believe that your worth is fragile, that it depends on the approval of strangers, that it can vanish in a moment. But when you anchor in self-love, you are no longer tossed by those tides. You know that your worth is steady, not because of what you achieve but because of who you are. Yes, there will be people who do not understand. There will be those who call your self-love selfishness because they cannot imagine a love that is both strong and gentle. There will be those who fear your boundaries because they can no longer exploit your silence. There will be those who resist your confidence because it shines a light on their own doubt. Do not let their misunderstanding dim you. Their vision is limited, your worth is not. To love yourself is to walk through the world with dignity. It is to lift your head even when the road is heavy. It is to say, I am here, I am worthy, and I will not shrink. And in that presence, you give others permission to rise as well. You invite them to meet you in wholeness, not in brokenness. You invite them to build bridges of respect instead of chains of dependence. Self-love is a revolution of the quiet kind. It is not loud, it does not demand applause. But it shifts everything. It shifts the way you work, the way you rest, the way you give, the way you dream. It shifts the way you heal and the way you help others heal. It shifts the way you see yourself in the tapestry of this world, not as a thread meant to vanish, but as a color meant to shine. There will be seasons when self-love feels effortless, when you wake up and feel radiant, when you walk into a room and feel your own power. And there will be seasons when it feels like labor, when doubt creeps in, when old wounds whisper, when you forget your own song. In those seasons, do not abandon yourself. Hold yourself closer. Sing even when the tune is cracked. Rest even when the world tells you to rush. Return, always return, to that mirror, and say again, I am worthy. Because love that begins within does not end within. It becomes the foundation upon which every bond, every connection, every act of kindness is built. It becomes the ground beneath your feet and the wings on your back. It becomes the quiet strength that allows you to give without losing, to forgive without erasing, to stay soft without breaking. And when you live from that place, you will find that every relationship is transformed. You will see others more clearly, not through the haze of your own need, but through the clarity of abundance. You will listen more deeply, not from fear of being unloved, but from the fullness of love already alive in you. You will forgive more freely, not because you are desperate for peace, but because you already carry peace. This is the power of self-love. It is not a fleeting feeling. It is a way of being. It is the foundation that steadies every step, the song that echoes in every bond, the light that shines in every room you enter. When we begin to practice self-love, we come to understand that it is not an instant transformation but a lifelong journey. Some mornings it will come like sunlight through an open window, gentle and undeniable. Other days it will feel like a seed buried beneath cold soil, hidden, waiting for warmth and patience to coax it upward. On those days when you cannot feel it, you must still choose it. Love is not only a feeling, it is an action, a decision, a steady reaching toward yourself even when it is not easy. There are people who believe love is sacrifice, that to prove devotion one must always place another above oneself. But sacrifice without balance turns love into suffering. A fire that gives all its flame without replenishment will burn itself out and leave only ashes. Self-love is the replenishment. It is the moment when you pause and breathe, when you gather yourself so that the flame can continue to glow. Without that, every relationship becomes a demand instead of a dance. To love yourself is also to honor your truth. Each of us carries a voice, a rhythm, a way of seeing the world that is uniquely ours. Too often that voice is silenced by fear, fear of rejection, fear of judgment, fear of being too much or not enough. But when you deny your own truth, when you contort yourself into shapes that do not fit, you are teaching others a lie. And relationships built on lies, even small ones, cannot stand for long. To love yourself is to speak even when your voice trembles, to show yourself as you are, to trust that those meant for you will not turn away from your honesty. There is also courage in self-love. Courage to walk away when love harms more than it heals. Courage to stand firm when others demand your silence. Courage to be alone rather than accept companionship that erases you. This courage is not always loud. Sometimes it is a quiet decision made in the stillness of your own heart. I will not betray myself for the comfort of others. That decision reshapes every bond, because it tells the world that you will not accept less than respect, less than kindness, less than the dignity you deserve. In loving yourself, you also learn to celebrate yourself, not just in grand achievements, not just when the world applauds, but in the small victories that pass unnoticed. The day you speak gently to yourself instead of harshly. The moment you look into the mirror and see beauty where you once saw only flaws. The evening you rest without guilt, savoring silence without apology. These moments are not small, they are sacred. They are the threads that weave self-love into the fabric of your life. It is a mistake to think that self-love isolates you, that it makes you untouchable or distant. In truth, it does the opposite. It makes you more capable of intimacy. When you are grounded in yourself, you can open more fully to another without fear of losing your identity. You can love deeply without becoming dependent. You can stand close without collapsing. This is what makes relationships thrive, not clinging, but standing side by side as two whole souls choosing to walk together. And let us not forget that self-love is not only for moments of strength. It is especially vital in moments of weakness. When you fail, when you falter, when you hurt someone you love, when life does not unfold as you planned. Those are the times when self-love whispers, "You are still worthy." Too often we turn on ourselves in failure, adding cruelty to our pain. But love that is true does not vanish in disappointment. Love that is true holds steady through storms. To extend that kind of love to yourself is to offer healing where shame would otherwise grow. The practice of self-love also invites gratitude. Gratitude not only for what you do but for who you are. Gratitude for the breath that carries you, the body that holds you, the spirit that guides you. Gratitude that you are alive in this moment, capable of growth, capable of love. Gratitude softens the harsh edges of self-criticism, reminding you that you are not only what you lack, you are also what you already have. And when gratitude fills your soul, it spills into your relationships, making them richer, gentler, more abundant. There is a tenderness in self-love that teaches us how to love others more tenderly. When you learn to comfort yourself without judgment, you learn how to comfort another without trying to fix them. When you learn to honor your own boundaries, you learn how to honor the boundaries of others. When you learn to see yourself as enough, you stop demanding that others carry the impossible weight of proving your worth. In this way, every act of self-love becomes a lesson in how to love well beyond yourself. We live in a world that is often loud with comparison, loud with competition, loud with demands to be more, do more, achieve more. In such a world, self-love can feel like resistance. It is the quiet refusal to measure your worth by numbers, titles, or applause. It is the decision to find value in your existence, not in your performance. And when you carry that kind of love into relationships, you free others as well. You no longer need them to prove you are worthy, you already know. You no longer tie their love to your identity. You already stand rooted. That freedom allows love to be what it was always meant to be, not a chain, but a choice. And still, self-love asks for consistency. Not once, not twice, but every day. You must return to yourself again and again, because the world will try to pull you away. It will whisper that you are not enough. It will shout that you must earn love. It will distract you with endless noise. But each time you pause, breathe, and remind yourself of your worth, you strengthen the foundation. Each time you treat yourself with kindness, you reinforce the truth. Over time, it becomes unshakable, and no storm can take it from you. In this way, self-love becomes a quiet revolution inside you. It transforms how you walk, how you speak, how you touch, how you see. It transforms how you give and how you receive. It transforms your relationships, not because others have changed, but because you have. You carry yourself differently. You no longer settle for less. You no longer cling out of fear. You no longer dim your light for the comfort of others. Instead, you shine. And in that shining, you invite others to shine as well. That is the gift of self-love. It does not end with you. It radiates outward, touching everyone you meet. It steadies your partnerships, deepens your friendships, enriches your family, even softens the way you move among strangers. It makes love not a desperate search, but a natural extension of who you are. For when you are full within, you have no need to beg without. And so, to love yourself is to lay the foundation for every relationship you will ever have. It is to build from a place of strength rather than weakness, abundance rather than scarcity, truth rather than fear. It is to know that every bond you form will mirror the bond you hold with yourself. And when that bond is rooted in love, everything that grows from it will carry the same strength, the same beauty, the same light. So I say to you, when you stand before the mirror, do not look for what the world has told you to see. Look deeper. Look for the unshakable truth that you are worthy. You are enough. You are love itself. When you carry that truth, you will never walk into a relationship begging for completion but offering wholeness. You will never chain yourself to another's approval, but you will join hands in freedom. The foundation of every bond is not found in what others give you. It is found in what you already carry within. And if you choose to love yourself fiercely, unapologetically, faithfully, then every relationship you build will rise on solid ground, unshaken, unbroken, and abundant with love that cannot be taken away.